What if I told you that the worry you're feeling about your future isn't real? What if everything you're stressing about might never even happen? Can you imagine a life where you don't have to constantly worry about what's next? Hello and welcome back to the Son.Mindfulness channel. I'm so glad you're here with us today. We've all been there, haven't we? You wake up with a list of worries. What might go wrong today? What's uncertain about the future? Or what you can't control? It's easy to feel overwhelmed. But what if we could take a step back and look at things from a different perspective? What if I told you that much of what we worry about is just an illusion created by our minds? In this video, we're diving deep into a powerful truth that can change how we approach our everyday struggles. It's something we've all heard in a fun, catchy tune by Bobby McFerrin. Don't worry, be happy. Yes, it's a cheerful song, but there's more to it than just a feel-good melody. It connects beautifully to a Buddhist teaching that worry isn't real. It's an illusion. Buddhism teaches us that when we focus on the present moment, we can find peace. Worry is often based on things that haven't even happened yet. When we stay in the present, we stop trying to control the uncontrollable future and start experiencing the peace we've been searching for. This is a lesson that can resonate deeply, especially if you're over 50. As we get older, life seems to come with more transitions, changes in health, family, or even the challenges of retirement. The pressures can pile up, making it feel harder to enjoy the now. But trust me, these Buddhist teachings can help ease the anxiety and create a sense of calm, no matter where you are in life. Son.Mindfulness is dedicated to bringing these powerful, practical teachings to you. We explore simple ways to practice mindfulness, let go of worries, and live in the present. If you've enjoyed this message so far, I'd love for you to support the channel by subscribing and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Let's build a community focused on peace, mindfulness, and well-being. I'm so grateful to have you here. Now I'm sure you're wondering, how exactly do we stop worrying? What can we do to find more peace in our daily lives? Stay with us, because in the next part of this video, we'll explore the role of mindfulness and how it can help you experience a worry-free life. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Part 2. Worry as an illusion, a product of the mind. Have you ever laid awake at night, your mind racing with what-ifs and worst-case scenarios? Maybe you've thought, what if something happens to my health? What if I don't have enough money for the future? These thoughts seem so real, don't they? But what if I told you that the worry you're feeling is not as real as you think? According to Buddhism, worry is not a tangible problem. It's a product of the mind, an illusion. Worry is not caused by something happening in the present moment. It is based on fears of things that haven't even happened yet. The mind has a natural tendency to focus on potential dangers, and that's where worry starts. We worry about the future, about events that are out of our control, creating an image of something terrible happening, even though it hasn't happened yet. Think about it. Have you ever spent time worrying about something, only to find out that the worst-case scenario never came true? It's like spending hours building a tower of cards, only to watch it collapse at the slightest breeze. That's what worry does. It makes us spend energy on things that may never happen, leaving us stuck in an endless cycle of imagined fears. In Buddhism, worry is considered a form of dukkha, a Sanskrit word meaning suffering or dissatisfaction. However, it's not the kind of suffering that comes from real pain or loss. This is self-created suffering. It's the suffering we experience when we dwell in the future and get caught up in our thoughts. These fears keep us stuck in a mental loop, spinning round and round with no way to escape. We believe that worrying is somehow helping us, but in reality, it doesn't solve any problems. It only adds more stress to our lives. Take a moment to think about a time when you've worried about something in the past. Did it make the situation any better? Did it bring you clarity or help you find a solution? Most likely it didn't. In fact, worry often makes us less effective. It clouds our judgment, increases our anxiety, and prevents us from acting in the present moment. Now imagine if you stopped worrying. What would it feel like to let go of those mental images of the future? It's not about ignoring life's challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that worry doesn't solve anything. It just pulls us away from the reality of the present moment. The present is the only place where life truly happens. When we focus on the future through worry, we miss what's happening now. The Buddha taught that everything else, everything outside of the present moment, is simply imagination. The future isn't here yet, and the past is gone. All we have is this very moment. But how often do we allow ourselves to live in the present? When was the last time you truly experienced a moment without thinking about what comes next? In his teachings, the Buddha spoke of mindfulness, the practice of being fully aware of the present moment. Mindfulness helps us reconnect with the now, and it's one of the best ways to free ourselves from the prison of worry. If we're mindful, we stop living in the future and instead experience life exactly as it is. Think about a simple activity like eating a meal. When we eat mindfully, we notice the textures and flavors of the food. We savor the moment. But how often do we eat while distracted, perhaps worrying about something else, missing the full experience? By practicing mindfulness, we train our minds to focus on what is real, the present. It's not about blocking out thoughts or pretending that life's challenges don't exist. It's about realizing that the mind's stories about the future are not the reality. When we stop identifying with those thoughts, we stop creating unnecessary suffering. So next time you find yourself caught in worry, take a step back and remind yourself, this is just a story my mind is creating. I don't need to follow it. Take a deep breath and bring yourself back to the present. Remember, worry is not a real problem. It's an illusion created by the mind. By focusing on the present, you can free yourself from its grip. Coming up next, the arrow metaphor. First arrow versus second arrow. How we can stop the second arrow of worry and suffering from affecting our peace of mind. Part 3. The arrow metaphor. First arrow versus second arrow. Have you ever faced a difficult situation, something that caused you pain or distress, only to find that your response made everything worse? The Buddha used a powerful metaphor to explain this. The first arrow and the second arrow. Imagine you're walking through a forest and suddenly you're struck by a real arrow. This first arrow represents the actual pain or difficulty you face, whether it's physical pain, a setback, or a life challenge. The pain is real, and it's unavoidable. But here's where the Buddha's metaphor gets interesting. Instead of simply addressing the wound, we often shoot ourselves with a second arrow, our mental response to the situation. The second arrow is the worry, the regret, the anger, and the fear we add to the initial pain. It's the suffering that we create in our minds, and it's optional. Just as the first arrow causes pain, the second arrow causes mental suffering. But unlike the first arrow, the second arrow is something we choose. It's the mental anguish we subject ourselves to when we get caught up in our thoughts, replaying the situation over and over again in our minds. That second arrow is what keeps us stuck. Think about a time when you've had a stressful moment. Perhaps you were waiting for an important call, and your mind kept racing. What if they don't call? What if something is wrong? Instead of just waiting, you start to imagine worst-case scenarios. The more you think about it, the more anxious you become, even though there's no real reason to be anxious. That's the second arrow at work. You're already dealing with the stress of waiting, the first arrow, and now you're adding more suffering through your mental response, the second arrow. Or maybe it's a difficult conversation you've been putting off. You know you need to talk to someone, but you keep imagining all the ways it could go wrong. What if they get angry? What if you say the wrong thing? Your mind races with worry, even before the conversation takes place. This is another example of the second arrow. The initial discomfort is the upcoming conversation, the first arrow. But your worry about how the conversation will unfold is the second arrow. It's important to recognize that the second arrow is optional. When we react with worry, fear, or anger, we're choosing to prolong our suffering. In Buddhism, the practice of mindfulness helps us recognize when we're about to shoot that second arrow. We can choose to stop the cycle of suffering by simply observing our thoughts and choosing not to react. We can allow ourselves to feel the pain of the first arrow without adding more pain with our thoughts. For instance, if you're facing a difficult situation, you might feel a natural sense of anxiety or discomfort. That's the first arrow. But instead of dwelling on the what ifs or what could go wrong, you can choose to simply be with the discomfort and let it pass. You don't need to add to it with endless worrying. By doing this, you're avoiding the second arrow and reducing the suffering in your life. It's all about adjusting your mental response. When you notice yourself becoming overwhelmed with worry, take a step back. Pause and take a deep breath. Recognize that the worry is just a story your mind is telling you. You don't have to believe every thought that comes into your head. By practicing mindfulness and awareness, you can break the cycle and stop the second arrow before it even hits. The Buddha's teaching is powerful because it gives us the freedom to choose how we respond to life's challenges. We don't have to be victims of our own thoughts. We can choose to let go of the second arrow and reduce our suffering. Coming up next, letting go, trusting life's flow. We'll explore how letting go of the need to control and trusting the natural flow of life can bring more peace and ease into your world. Part 4. Letting go, trusting life's flow. Have you ever found yourself gripping onto something so tightly as if holding on will keep it from slipping away? Maybe it's a goal you're striving to achieve, a relationship you want to preserve, or even an idea of how life should be. The truth is, when we hold on too tightly, we often create more stress, more anxiety, and more suffering. This is where the Buddhist principle of letting go comes in. Buddhism teaches us that peace comes not from control, but from releasing our need to hold on to everything. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means trusting life's natural flow. In Buddhism, letting go is seen as a way to stop creating unnecessary suffering. It's about accepting that we cannot control everything. Life is constantly changing, shifting, and evolving, and trying to control those changes only leads to frustration. The more we cling to outcomes, people, or expectations, the more we set ourselves up for pain. When we let go, we create space for peace and clarity. Think about the way nature operates. A tree doesn't stress about when its leaves will fall. It knows that they will fall when the time is right, without forcing the process. A river doesn't fight the rocks it encounters. It flows around them, gently adapting to whatever is in its path. A bird doesn't worry about where the wind will take it. It simply spreads its wings and trusts that the wind will carry it to where it needs to go. Nature doesn't struggle. It doesn't try to control what it cannot. It flows naturally, with trust in the process of life itself. We, too, are part of that flow. But too often we fight against it, trying to control every aspect of our lives. We set rigid goals and expectations, believing that if we don't control everything, we'll lose everything. This belief creates a constant state of anxiety. We fear the unknown, and in trying to control it, we rob ourselves of the joy and peace that come from simply living. Letting go is not about avoiding responsibility or care. It's about recognizing that some things are beyond our control and learning to accept them without fear. It's about relinquishing the belief that we must control every outcome, and instead trusting that life will unfold as it should. When we let go of this need to control, we create space for more peace, happiness, and freedom in our lives. Now, let's consider real-life examples of letting go. There was a woman, Sarah, who had spent years planning her life down to the smallest detail. She had a successful career, a family, and a well-organized life. But when she was faced with a sudden job loss, she panicked. Her plans were disrupted, and she couldn't find any way to regain control. She spent days worrying, trying to figure out how to fix everything. But eventually, she realized that trying to force solutions wasn't helping. She had to let go of the fear and the need to control every aspect of her future. When she did, she found peace and clarity. Sarah accepted that life was unpredictable and that she couldn't control every outcome. Once she let go, new opportunities began to appear, ones that she had never considered before. Her life unfolded in ways she hadn't expected, but it was better than anything she could have planned. Another example comes from the story of a man named Jack, who struggled with his relationships. He was always afraid of losing the people he loved. He clung to them, trying to make everything perfect, but his fear of losing them only pushed them away. It wasn't until he learned to let go of his need to control those relationships that they began to flourish. By accepting that people have their own lives, their own paths, Jack found peace. He trusted that the people he loved would stay in his life if they were meant to. And in doing so, his relationships deepened and grew stronger. Letting go can be especially important during times of personal crisis. When we experience loss or sudden change, it's easy to try to hold on to the past. We may grieve what we've lost or fear the uncertainty of the future. But the key to healing is letting go of the idea that things should have stayed the same. Life is always changing, and fighting that change only prolongs our suffering. Instead, if we embrace change with acceptance, we allow ourselves to move forward and find peace. Trusting life isn't about pretending everything is perfect or denying difficulties. It's about understanding that life unfolds in its own way. Worrying about the future doesn't change it. It only drains your energy. When we trust life, we stop trying to force everything into place. We stop living in constant fear of what might happen and begin to embrace whatever comes our way with open arms. Life will bring challenges, yes, but it will also bring beauty, growth, and unexpected blessings. By letting go, we open ourselves to receiving them. As we trust life more fully, we begin to see that not everything is within our control. The more we let go of our attachment to outcomes, the more we discover the peace that comes from simply being present in the moment. And in this moment, life is perfect, just as it is. Coming up next, the role of mindfulness. Staying present in the moment. We'll dive into how mindfulness helps us embrace life as it is, with all its unpredictability, and how staying present can transform our experience of peace. Part 5. The role of mindfulness. Staying present in the moment. Have you ever found yourself rushing through the day, your mind constantly jumping from one thing to the next? You're eating, but your mind is already planning your next task. You're talking to someone, but your thoughts are elsewhere. You're walking, but your mind is so far ahead in the future that you miss the simple joy of the present moment. This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness, or sati in Buddhism, is the practice of being fully aware of the present moment, free from distractions and judgments. In a world that is constantly moving and demanding our attention, mindfulness is the key to slowing down and reconnecting with the present. It's about being here right now without worrying about the past or the future. In Buddhism, mindfulness is not just a practice, it's a way of life. It is the foundation of many Buddhist teachings, and it has the power to transform how we experience our day-to-day lives. By practicing mindfulness, we can develop a deeper awareness of ourselves, our surroundings, and the way we respond to situations. But what does mindfulness actually mean? At its core, Mindfulness is about paying attention, on purpose and without judgment. It means observing the world around you, your thoughts and your emotions as they arise, without getting lost in them. It's like sitting by a river, watching the water flow but not jumping into it. You observe the flow without being swept away. Let's think about how mindfulness applies to everyday life. Take eating, for example. How often do you rush through meals, barely tasting your food, while your mind is occupied with everything else? Mindful eating, on the other hand, is about truly experiencing your food. It's about noticing the texture, the flavor, and the aroma of each bite. It's about appreciating the nourishment that food provides, rather than thinking about your to-do list or what's coming up next. Or consider walking. When was the last time you actually felt your feet touching the ground? Mindful walking is simply paying attention to each step you take. Feel your feet lifting off the ground, moving through the air, and then gently placing back down. Notice the rhythm of your steps, the movement of your body, and the sensation of the earth beneath you. Walking this way allows you to become more aware of your body, your breath, and your surroundings. What about listening to someone speak? Often, we listen to others with our minds already busy with our own thoughts, judgments, or responses. Mindful listening is the act of being fully present with the person speaking, without interrupting or planning your next words. It's about truly hearing them, understanding their emotions, and connecting with them in the moment. This practice not only deepens relationships but also allows us to become more present in our interactions with others. So how can we bring mindfulness into our lives on a regular basis? One of the simplest ways is by paying attention to your breath. Your breath is always with you. It's a constant reminder that you are alive, right here, right now. You don't need to change your breath. Simply notice it. Feel the coolness of the air as it enters your nose, the rise and fall of your chest, and the way your belly expands with each inhale. When you become aware of your breath, you become grounded in the present moment. Another way to practice mindfulness is by noticing physical sensations. If you're sitting down, feel the weight of your body on the chair, the pressure of your feet on the floor. Notice the sensation of the fabric of your clothes against your skin. This awareness helps you stay connected to the present moment, preventing you from getting lost in anxious thoughts. Mindfulness also involves being aware of your thoughts without getting caught up in them. It's normal for thoughts to come and go, but when we identify too strongly with them, we begin to believe that they define us. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts as they arise, but not to get attached to them. When a thought comes, simply notice it. Label it if you can, thinking, and then let it pass like a cloud moving across the sky. By doing this, you begin to create space between you and your thoughts, and you free yourself from the constant mental chatter that can cause stress and anxiety. Mindfulness is incredibly helpful in reducing worry. Worry is often a mental habit that takes us away from the present moment. We get lost in thoughts about the future, imagining worst-case scenarios, and fearing what might happen. But mindfulness anchors us in the present, allowing us to recognize when worry is creeping in. Instead of getting caught up in a whirlwind of anxious thoughts, mindfulness helps us bring our attention back to the here and now. When we stay present, we reduce the power of worry, because we realize that what we're worried about hasn't even happened yet. Worrying about the future is like building a house of cards. One gust of wind, and it all comes crumbling down. But when we focus on the present, we realize that we have everything we need in this moment. For example, let's say you're anxious about an upcoming event. Instead of obsessing over every possible outcome, focus on the present moment. Take a deep breath, notice the sensations in your body, and bring your awareness to the now. By practicing mindfulness, you break the cycle of worry and give yourself the space to experience peace. Mindfulness is not about avoiding problems or pretending life is perfect. It's about embracing the reality of the present moment, no matter what that moment brings. It's about allowing yourself to experience life fully, without the filter of worry, judgment, or distraction. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we cultivate a sense of calm, clarity, and presence in our lives. It allows us to deal with challenges from a place of awareness, rather than fear or reactivity. Coming up next, Taming the Mind, the Wild Elephant. We'll explore how mindfulness can help us train the mind, reducing its tendency to run wild, and how to gain control over our mental landscape. Part 6. Taming the Mind, the Wild Elephant. In Buddhism, the untrained mind is often compared to a wild elephant. Imagine a powerful elephant charging through a dense jungle. It's strong, but it's chaotic. It doesn't follow any particular path. It just reacts to whatever it encounters in the moment. This is similar to our minds when left unchecked, full of energy, but often impulsive, reactive, and scattered. The mind jumps from one thought to the next, pulled by emotions, fears, desires, and distractions. Just like the wild elephant, our minds can be difficult to control, but it's possible to tame them with patience and practice. How do we tame this wild elephant? The Buddha taught that we can train the mind through practices like meditation, mindfulness, and ethical living. Meditation is the most direct way to calm the mind and regain control over our thoughts. By sitting in silence and focusing on our breath, we create the space to observe our thoughts without being swept away by them. In meditation, we learn to quiet the noise of the mind, allowing us to see our thoughts clearly and objectively. This clarity helps us make better decisions and respond to life's challenges with calmness and wisdom, rather than reacting impulsively. Mindfulness is another tool that helps us tame the wild elephant. Through mindfulness, we learn to pay attention to our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we observe our thoughts as they come and go, like clouds in the sky. We don't identify with them, we just acknowledge them and let them pass. This practice helps reduce impulsivity, as we start to notice when we're about to react to a situation based on habit or emotion. Instead of reacting automatically, we pause, take a breath, and choose how to respond mindfully. Over time, this helps us reduce reactivity and become more aware of our mental patterns. Ethical living also plays a key role in taming the mind. When we act in ways that are aligned with our values, through kindness, compassion, and integrity, we create a sense of inner peace. Living ethically helps us avoid the mental chaos caused by guilt, regret, or unwholesome desires. It provides a foundation for our mind to be calm, clear, and focused. Ethical living is not about perfection, but about creating habits that support our mental well-being and contribute to a peaceful, harmonious life. Through meditation, mindfulness, and ethical living, we can train the mind to become more stable and less impulsive. We begin to recognize the patterns in our thoughts and emotions, and with practice, we can stop the cycle of mindless reaction. Imagine you're having an argument with a loved one. In the past, you might have reacted out of anger, saying things you didn't mean. But through mindfulness, you notice your anger before it escalates. You take a deep breath, pause, and choose to respond with patience and understanding, instead of letting your emotions control you. This is how mindfulness helps us recognize when we're caught in a cycle of reactivity and gives us the space to choose a different response. Building awareness and clarity is the key to taming the mind. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we become aware of the thoughts and emotions that drive our behavior. We stop identifying with every thought that comes to mind. We start to see them as fleeting mental events, rather than as truths we must act on. With this clarity, we begin to recognize when we're caught in a cycle of worry, fear, or desire. Instead of getting swept away by these emotions, we can observe them and choose not to react. Taming the mind is not about suppressing thoughts or emotions. It's about creating a sense of awareness and control over how we respond to them. By developing mindfulness and meditation practices, we train our minds to become more focused, calm, and clear. The wild elephant gradually becomes a calm and well-guided companion, helping us navigate life with greater wisdom and peace. Coming up next, living in the present, the true antidote to worry. We'll explore how living in the present moment can free us from worry and bring lasting peace into our lives. Part 7. Living in the present, the true antidote to worry. Do you ever feel like life is passing you by while your mind is caught up in a web of thoughts about the future or the past? Maybe you're thinking about what's next, whether it's an upcoming event or a future concern, or perhaps you're dwelling on something you regret or missed out on. These thoughts create worry, but what if I told you that the key to easing this worry lies in something incredibly simple yet powerful? Living in the present moment. The present moment is all we truly have. In fact, the present is the only moment that is real. The future hasn't happened yet, and the past is already gone. Worry often arises when we're caught in thoughts about the future, fearing what might happen, or the past, regretting what has already passed. We try to control the uncontrollable, and in doing so, we create unnecessary suffering. But when we shift our focus to the present moment, we step away from the chaos of worry and find peace. In the present, there is no need for fear about what's to come or guilt about what's been. There is only what is right here, right now. Think about it. How often do you spend time worrying about a situation that may never happen? Or how many times have you replayed a past conversation in your head, wishing you had said something different? We are constantly pulled out of the present by these thoughts. But the more we focus on the present moment, the more we realize that life unfolds naturally, without the need for constant worry. Now you might be thinking, but life is so busy. How can I stay present when there's so much to do? It's true that modern life can feel overwhelming. With endless to-do lists, responsibilities, and distractions, it can be hard to stay present. But staying in the present doesn't require perfection. It simply requires intention. Here are some practical tips for staying present in a busy life. 1. Focus on one task at a time. Multitasking often makes us feel like we're doing more, but it actually takes us out of the present moment. Instead of trying to juggle several things at once, focus on one task at a time. When you're doing something, whether it's working, cooking, or talking to someone, be fully present with it. Give it your undivided attention and notice the details. This will help you stay grounded in the moment. 2. Take breaks to breathe deeply. Throughout the day, take moments to pause and breathe deeply. This helps you reconnect with the present moment and calm any racing thoughts. You can do this while you're waiting for the coffee to brew, sitting in traffic, or even in the middle of a conversation. Simply close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and exhale slowly. This small act can bring you back to the now and ease the stress of the moment. 3. Eliminate distractions. In a world full of notifications and distractions, it's easy for our minds to wander. To stay present, try to eliminate as many distractions as possible. When you're working, put your phone on silent or out of sight. When you're talking to someone, give them your full attention instead of checking your phone or thinking about other tasks. The more you remove distractions, the easier it becomes to stay focused on the present. 4. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is a practice that helps you stay aware of the present moment without judgment. It involves paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings with full awareness. You can practice mindfulness in everything you do. When you eat, focus on the taste, texture, and smell of your food. When you walk, feel your feet on the ground. When you listen, truly listen to the person speaking. Mindfulness helps you experience life fully and be present in the here and now. Let me share a personal example. I once had a friend, Sarah, who was always worried about her future. She would constantly think about her career, her finances, and whether she was on the right path. But when Sarah started practicing mindfulness, she realized that she was missing out on life in the present. She was so focused on what might happen that she wasn't enjoying what was happening. By bringing her attention back to the present moment, whether it was enjoying a walk in the park or having a conversation with a friend, she found peace. She noticed that her anxiety about the future lessened because she was no longer consumed by thoughts about what was to come. She learned to let go of the constant worry and embrace the simplicity of the present. Another example comes from a family member who struggled with past regrets. He would often replay old arguments in his head, wishing he had handled them differently. But when he began practicing mindfulness, he realized that he was reliving these moments over and over again, preventing himself from enjoying the present. Once he became aware of this, he shifted his focus to the present moment, appreciating what he had right now, rather than holding on to past mistakes. This change in perspective helped him feel more content, less stressed, and more connected to the people around him. Living in the present is the true antidote to worry. When we stay focused on what's happening right now, we stop wasting our energy on things that might never happen. We find peace in the present, and that peace helps to ease the worries of the future and the regrets of the past. Coming up next, conclusion. The freedom of letting go will explore how letting go of our attachment to outcomes and the need to control everything can lead to true freedom and lasting peace. Conclusion. The freedom of letting go. As we come to the end of this journey together, let's take a moment to reflect on the key lessons we've learned. First, we discovered that worry is a product of the mind. It's not something real, but a mental habit that pulls us away from the present moment. By recognizing that worry is just a story our mind tells us, we can begin to break free from its grip. Second, mindfulness is a powerful tool that helps us stay present. Through mindfulness, we can observe our thoughts and emotions without getting lost in them. We can experience life fully, right here, right now, without constantly worrying about the future or regretting the past. And lastly, we explored the importance of letting go. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about accepting life as it comes. It's about releasing the need to control everything and trusting that life will unfold in its own way. When we let go, we create space for peace and freedom. I want to express my deep gratitude to you for taking the time to read and explore these teachings with me. I truly believe that by applying these lessons in our daily lives, we can find the peace we seek. Have you ever tried letting go of control or practicing mindfulness in your day-to-day life? If not, now is the perfect time to start. You don't need to make big changes all at once. Just start small. Practice mindfulness during your meals, during a conversation, or even while walking. Notice the moments where you're holding on to something, whether it's a worry, a fear, or a desire for control, and gently let it go. As you do, you'll begin to experience more peace and clarity. Remember, life isn't about controlling every outcome. It's about experiencing each moment with openness and trust. By staying present and letting go, you'll discover that life is full of beauty, even in its uncertainty. Trust that the present moment is enough. You are enough. I want to thank you for being a part of this journey. If you found these teachings valuable, please subscribe to Son.Mindfulness and continue to follow along. Your support means the world to us. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. How has mindfulness helped you in your life? What changes have you noticed since practicing letting go? Please share your thoughts and experiences below. I wish you all good health, peace, happiness, and luck on your journey. May you always find joy in the present moment and peace in letting go. Take care, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Thank you.